The shrine of the stars, the rustle of leaves, and the enchanting sounds of music. The night serenades by Bohodar Kotorovych are returning. More on that in the programme Ukraine on Stage. Loud concerts of pop and rock music have become almost a typical event on the streets and squares of cities and towns throughout Ukraine during the holidays or on weekends. Another event is classical music in the open air. It's not just a cultural recreation, but also the work of enthusiasts who have an undying passion for music. Certain places are dedicated to such concerts. World classic masterpieces can be heard there, and the viewing audience is quite specific. Classic concerts at classic venues are not held frequently. The origins of park culture traditions go far back into the past. In the 19th and 20th centuries, there had always been live music in parks, usually performed by military orchestras. Firefighters in their shiny helmets and the rest of the audience came to listen to the music, talk, and even nannies took children in strollers there. It had been quite active in the 1950s, and not just in the Soviet Union, but all over the world. There were magnificent concerts held in the open air in Berlin and in almost every city of European countries, as well as in the US and here in Ukraine as well. There's a beautiful stage at the Mariinsky Park near the building of the Ukrainian Parliament, which provides great opportunities for live concerts in the open air. More and more often, music lovers can see the ensemble Kiev Classic, led by the famous Ukrainian pianist Yevheniya Basalaeva, on the stage of the so-called clamshell. The ensemble performs not only popular classic music, but also the premieres of Ukrainian and foreign composers. Everything happens today just like it did many years ago, in the times of the delightful nocturnal serenades by Bohodar Kotorovych. I remember those famous nocturnal serenades by Kotorovych, which were performed on this very stage. I think that the fact that Yevheniya Basalaeva wants to retrieve this culture is a fantastic idea and quite relevant today. In the 1980s, nocturnal serenades burst like a bright star into the cultural life of the Ukrainian capital. This show was performed by the outstanding violinist Bohodar Kotorovych. At the invitation of the maestro, famous musicians came to those concerts, and a special friendship and cooperation had been developed with the outstanding Lithuanian conductor Saulius Kondekis. Kondekis repeatedly brought his chamber orchestra here to Kiev. The music of nocturnal serenades erupted from the band shell at 10 o'clock in the evening and sometimes came to the crescendo only after midnight. I made my debut in those imprezas. We used to play wonderful concerts, Vivaldi's Night, double concerts. I remember that it was raining. There were a lot of umbrellas in the audience. I felt an atmosphere of elation and beauty. I could not understand why. Probably because Mother Nature had let her tears stream down on us, seeing as it was the last performance of the nocturnal serenades. In many of its concerts, the Kiev Classic Ensemble performs the works of the composer Bogdan Pratsiuk, titled A Tribute to Kotorovych, as many of the students of Bohodar are part of the collective. We tried to recreate Kotorovych's atmosphere by conveying the beauty of music that contains the sadness of rain, the joy of the sun, and the bright light of the stars, all at the same time. I think that the Kiev Classic Ensemble managed to convey that to the listener.
Когда она улыбалась во время солнца и когда она зажигала звезды.
The author of the revived project Nocturnal Serenades, Yevheniya Basalaeva, has also offered her vision, thereby making the concerts more diverse, adding choral, vocal and chamber instrumental music to the orchestral music. I decided to revive the project in 2015, but slightly changing it in the process, broadening it from the genre perspective, so that not just classical academic music would sound, but also, for example, jazz. The project's partner, renowned pianist and jazzman Petro Poltaryov, who is now bringing up a new generation of Ukrainian jazz performers, helps Yevheniya not just with the Nocturnal Serenades project. He is an active participant and co-organizer of the large festival Dialogues of Cultures, within the framework of which Nocturnal Serenades takes place. This festival is held every year and begins its journey from August to May or June. It incorporates a lot of different projects. Elite evenings of chamber music by Yevheniya Basalaeva, Young Philharmonic in the Actors Building, and the Revival Festival. Our audience of today, the generation of a free Ukraine, comes to listen to traditional classical music and excellent contemporary jazz. People want to communicate with each other, discover for themselves all the aspects of spiritual enrichment, which is very important, because without spiritual enrichment, no state can exist if it seeks to move forward to the civilized world, to Europe. Like many years ago, the clamshell of the Mariinsky Park in Kiev is still filled with the fantastic and magical sounds of classic works by Mozart, Vivaldi and Bach. Also, like many years ago, there are no empty seats in this open-air venue. This festival will be held every year and is dedicated to the Independence Day of Ukraine. We hope that in the near future, such concerts will be held not only on the most important holiday of the country, but also on other dates, or maybe even without any special occasion. Just a concert of Nocturnal Serenades that is loved so much by classical art enthusiasts in Ukraine and around the world.